And I did. I told him, I was like, hey, look, I seen that you made a pass at me or whatever, and I'm flattered, but I don't run that way. I'm not gay.
The violent man, you walking barefoot, smell of defeat. Got the squad rolling deep, can't stand on their feet. The fear on the grip, hands in the dough, fully pot. Sticky fingers, palmer looking, the block stay hot. Cyraxx, shadow boxing, swinging at the air, undefeated in delusion. Reality don't care, Jupiter creeping, got the whole crew shook. Predator vibes, got a band from the book. Josh Block got the hell, bottle in his clutch. Captain of a ship that's been sinking too much. Over Navy waddling, can't step to the throne. Worry, drop the mic, let them reap what they've sown.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the show. Thanks for coming by the channel again today. I thought this was an interesting pick to look back at, considering Cyraxx has still continued his nearly week-long streak of being almost entirely off the internet. So, since I've noticed a lot of people in the comments lately saying that there are certain arcs that they're not familiar with, or sometimes, something comes up about some minutia of Cyraxx lore that they're not familiar with, I thought today would be a good day to let Cyraxx tell you, in his own words, for over 45 minutes, the story of his life. Of course, like everything else he says, this entire spiel that he goes on is nearly entirely made up of complete and utter lies. So we're going to fact check him as we go, and we're going to insert clips contradicting the lies that he tells. So if you don't know too much about Cyraxx and you're kind of new to the game, you'll probably learn a lot here, and if you do know Cyraxx, there's a lot of old shit to laugh about, so either way, I hope you guys enjoy it. But without any further rambling, let's watch this goblin cry.
What up, YouTube?
What up, Cyraxx?
So, I'm here to explain my full story once and for all. For those of you that might not know why I get messed with and why some of you guys are getting called the names that you get called. So I'm here to finally come out and expose the troll community for what they've done to me and explain my story fully to show what these people do and how evil they are. Back in 2017, I became a target of isolation, victimization, and illegal entrapment. See, I used to do this podcast with a former friend of mine, Ian, who went by the music artist named Bradley back in 2017. And I'm sure he still does. I don't know. But me and him ran a podcast called The Chill with the Boys podcast, where we would all hang out, yada yada yada. We'd have friends, other music artists on that we either worked with or enjoyed or listened to, whatever. Well, and there was a day where he had to work and I took over the podcast. And then there was this dude named Music Biz Marty that kept on popping up in the chat. Like, he kept on just talking shit. Typical hater bullshit. Didn't think anything of it. I just kind of ignored it. And then
So we're not even 2 minutes in yet, and I feel like I need to correct him on some of this stuff. He absolutely did not do his best to ignore it. You guys have seen him rax out before. Anytime anyone says anything that he doesn't like, he feels the need to have a meltdown, yell slurs, and just generally flip the fuck out about it. So this idea that he was trying to turn the other cheek and Marty just wouldn't stop is complete nonsense. I would assume the only reason that actually Marty locked in on him specifically to be the one to mess with and talk shit about is because you can so easily get a huge reaction out of him. He also claimed he had a bunch of friends, which is just also patently not true. So those are our first two.
More people came in saying, yo, this ain't the real Music Biz Marty, this dude's a fake, yada yada yada. And that grabbed my attention. So I was like, yo, let me go back and check out this Music Biz Marty dude and see what's up. I initially tried to find the real Music Biz Marty with no luck. I tried to find him to reach out to him and be like, yo, there's this dude pretending to be you. You might want to say something or do something. Because I know if it was me, I wouldn't want anybody taking my content and pretending to be me. That's just weird and not cool.
Yeah, if somebody else stole your content and pretended to be you, they would be in danger of being labeled a PDF file. So it would be a shame if anybody accidentally thought some innocent person was Chance Wilkins.
So I looked and looked and looked and couldn't find this guy for almost a week straight. And then I finally found this channel after digging and digging and digging and digging. So I hit him up. I was like, yo, dude, there's this guy pretending to be you. And this is back when YouTube had the whole messaging thing. And you could, message, people and whatnot. Like, not by comment or email, but the actual thing like you would do on Facebook. So I hit dude up. I was like, yo, there's this dude pretending to be you. And he said, okay, thanks, yada, yada, yada. Well, later on down the road, I actually found out that was actually really him. And I found this out way, way many years down the road. So fast forward a few years of that dude making on and off accounts before I knew that it was, really him. This dude would make on and off accounts just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Well, that went on for about 2.5 years. And then in 2019, I actually ended up dating my now ex-fiancée, Heather. Well, there was this dude that kept running his mouth by the name of Juggalo John. And this dude had been harassing me for years on Facebook, on social media. The dude was just some weird random. And finally I broke down on a stream that me and Heather were on with our now friend, the real Miss Janie Nicole, who has unfortunately, since passed. Well, he kept on saying that he was down by the community center right here by my house. So I went down, like I was geared up. Like I had fucking hand wraps on. I was fully fucking prepared.
Yeah, when Cyraxx trains for a fight, I mean, he's like a UFC fighter. Like, he gets the diet down. He's doing, like, a Rock diet. I mean Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. I don't mean because he looked up "Are Rocks Edible?" Very serious training regimen, egg whites, ground beef, none of that coffee sludge and Hot Pockets he usually eats. He trains, like, a good 12 hours a day, deadlifting, cardio, boxing classes, Muay Thai classes, jiu-jitsu, you name it. I mean, I don't know if you guys have seen the footage of one of his most famous bouts, but it's a very decisive victory for someone involved.
Bitch! Get the fuck out of here. Who's the king? You are? Then run away now. And shut the fuck up. Fine. You win. You win. You win. Please let us go.
Yeah, that's the cry of a warrior right there.
Well, I sat there for about 5-10 minutes. Dude never showed. So, I hopped back in the car.
His grandma's car, he doesn't drive. When he says he hopped back in the car, he means he hopped in the back of the car. I don't think he's tall enough to sit in the front seat.
And we go on our way to the house. Well, me and Heather get back to the house. And me and her hop back on the live stream with Jamie and the others that she was hanging out with. Well, a student named Music Biz Marty hopped back on. And by that time, I had completely forgotten about Music Biz Marty by this point. I had completely forgotten about him. Didn't think anything of it. And then that's when Heather brought up, she was like, hey, isn't that the dude that you had mentioned that was trolling you a couple years ago? And I was like, wait a minute. Yeah, that's the same dude. What the hell? Well, he hops on panel, we start talking back and forth, and we end up getting into this whole banter thing, and then he kind of settled down after about a half hour. Well, this dude ended up making a fucking pass at me. And I didn't catch it because I was too busy talking to Jamie about projects I was working on at the time, music shit I was working on.
So that's lie number 3. He concocted this lie about how the whole reason that Marty messed with him for all these years is actually that Marty had like a big old crush on him and just wanted him so bad, but Cyraxx turned him down because he's super, super straight, very straight guy, never anything gay with Blind Billy, definitely never anything gay with Security Jake, nothing gay adjacent with a stylist, nothing like that. He would never swing that way. But Marty saw the scabs glistening on his head, and he saw that patchy, wispy, spit-covered beard, and he just had to have him. And, when Cyraxx shot him down, he just couldn't handle it, and he had to make it his life's mission to destroy Cyraxx's internet presence. That's the lie that he tells. Obviously, we all know that that's fucking not true at all. I can't speak for exactly what Marty's motivations were for, the initial trolling of Cyraxx, but I would assume, all lolcows, it's because he was a funny-looking, morally corrupt, creepy little man with a penchant for having meltdowns, even with very little prodding, and it just made it easy for him to goad into having a reaction online that people thought were really funny. It's not because Marty had this secret love quest for him that he couldn't fulfill.
And I didn't catch it. So Heather was like, yo, Marty just made a pass at you. What the fuck? And I was like, wait, what? And so I hop off stream with her, and I go to check out the video footage, and lo and behold, he did. So me and her end up hopping back on after a few minutes, and I'm like, what the fuck? This is creepy, but, I'll let the dude down gently, I'll let him down gently. And I did. I told him, I was like, hey, look, I seen that you made a pass at me or whatever, and I'm flattered, but I don't run that way. I'm not gay.
He said, look, Marty, I really appreciate it, but I'm loyal to Jake. I mean Heather. You didn't hear that, did you, Heather? I said Heather, I didn't say Jake? Yeah, I'm loyal to Heather. I'm not going to give you the stylist suppository. I'm not going to give you the old Blind Billy, Marty. I just can't.
Sorry. Well, needless to say, he didn't take it too well after that. He didn't show it on the stream, but he was upset. And so, me and her went our separate ways.
Yeah, I'd be upset too. I mean, imagine getting turned down by Gollum. I'd be pretty embarrassed if I couldn't pull the creature from Barbarian.
And then later that same year in 2019, mid-2019 around July, lo and behold, here comes Marty again. And me and him really get into it this time around. We started going back and forth, on and off videos, the whole 9 yards. Well, little did I know that he would do something very, very, very diabolical. And bear in mind, this is where my disability for reading things wrong comes into play, because I do actually have a disability where I tend to read things wrong the first time.
Alright, so this is another one of the big lies that's come up a lot over the years, is whether or not Cyraxx is disabled. He swings back and forth on this one, much like his own sexuality. He'll say it's one thing, and then it very clearly turns out to be a different thing. He will occasionally, when he's having his Cyraxx moments, allude to having some type of a disability, and he almost never says what it is, and I think it's because, in a way, he's almost like a little bit smarter than Andy Ditch. Like, Andy says it's autism, not realizing that we can then physically watch his behavior and be like, hey, wait, that's not an autism symptom, you know what I mean? Cyraxx won't tell you what the disability is, because if you know what it is, then you can, like, try to use what you know people who actually have that disability do to work backwards to find that he doesn't have that, and he knows that, so he'll never be specific. But he will randomly just throw out there, like, yeah, I blame this one on my disability, as if we know what he's talking about. There's never been any diagnosis of Cyraxx with any disability. In all seriousness, if Sally ever did actually take him to a doctor or maybe a veterinarian, they probably would diagnose him with something. If you look into the background of his family and the Kiwi Farms page and everything like that, it's pretty reasonable to believe that he either has, shall we say, some crossed wires in his family tree maybe 2 or 3 generations back, or alternatively, a lot of people think he has fetal alcohol syndrome. I think it very reasonably could be both. So I'm definitely not making the argument that the guy is all there. I've joked a lot over the last couple of months about how his reading comprehension is that of like a second grader. You can see him like sounding out individual words and reading them one at a time instead of having a sentence actually flow whenever he tries to read fake screenshots or whatever the fuck off of his phone. But as far as him claiming to have some type of an actual diagnosed disability, there's just no evidence of that whatsoever. And I think it's interesting that he'll yell things like, "You're R-worded, I'm not R-worded," whenever he's like putting somebody else down, but then he can turn around a day or two later and be like, oh, well, you guys need to be more sensitive to my disability. You guys need to not hold me accountable of stuff because of my disability. It's really him picking and choosing when he wants to acknowledge this lie that isn't even true in the first place.
Around sometimes, not all the time, but in this instance, it really was kicking in that day fully. I don't know what it was, but it was hitting me hard that day, like, with everything. Like, I was misreading messages from friends on Facebook. I was misreading shit on Google that I was looking up for a friend of mine for an anime series that they wanted to get into. You name it. Like, it was acting up real bad that day. Well, there was a chick that hit me up, and me and her got to talking because she said she was a fan of my work. And I was like, bet, that's dope. You know, I appreciate that. And she had said that she'd liked me. I asked how old she was later on in the, in the chat. A lot of fucked up shit went down, but I asked her how old she was, and I thought she had said she was 18. I didn't. I genuinely thought she had said that she was 18. Well, she tricked me into sending certain photos, which I'll let your mind wander on that one.
Your mind doesn't have to wander. Unfortunately, we know exactly what kind of photos you sent. Couple of things here that I want to point out. First of all, he says, I read the number wrong and thought that she was 18. But then a second later he says, she tricked me. Well, if you made the mistake and read the number wrong, then she didn't trick you. If I say I'm 26, and somebody else somehow, because of their magical made-up disability, reads the number 26 and thinks that I'm 32, and then they say I'm 32, I didn't trick them into thinking that I was 32. They read the number wrong. That was their mistake. So right from rip, nobody tricked you, Cyraxx. At least not with this. Maybe with the kill sticks and the glitter bombs and all, but nobody tricked you in this situation. Second of all, this is not a situation where you're trying to type in like a coupon code and you think that an 8 is a B, or you think that the number 0 is an uppercase O. That's not what we're talking about here. You weren't reading somebody's like physical handwriting and you thought that a 7 was the number 1. There's no situation where you could possibly read the number 14 and think that it's 18. That makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. So he didn't even put enough effort into this excuse to make it sound reasonable. This is like on To Catch a Predator when they're like, hey, she said 7 times that she was 13. And they're like, oh, I didn't see that part. They're like, you were responding to every other message, like directly responding to what the decoy said, but then you happen to just read over the part with the age? Total, utter, unbelievable nonsense.
And I'm pretty sure you can guess, though. But I'll just let your mind wander. Well, as soon as she tricked me into sending those photos, she sent one back of who she claimed was her. After, I sent one back, because she had asked for it. So, I obliged, and then she has...
He obliged like a gentleman. Like a gentleman, he decided to send that photo. Cyraxx has a long and storied history of sending unsolicited goblin pics. He wasn't being a gentleman and accepting someone's gracious request all tentatively, like, oh, I normally wouldn't do this, but since you want to see it so bad, that's total cope.
Sent one back. Well, as soon as she sent her photo back, she claimed to... I was like, what the fuck, dude? Like, what? Like, I was confused. I'm like, wait a minute. You just said that you were 18. What the fuck?
See, that's where your lie doesn't even line up, Cyraxx, because you even admitted yourself 30 seconds ago that she didn't say she was 18. She said that she was a different age, and you thought she said 18. You read it wrong. So you can't even stick to one narrative within the same story. Like, it's one thing when somebody tells the same story 3 or 4 times over the course of a couple months, and it's a little different each time. No. He's telling the same story multiple different ways in the same sitting.
Well, needless to say, because of that, police got called out here. They talked to me the whole 9 yards. Basically said, like, hey, you gotta be more careful with who you talk to, yada, yada, yada. They gave me the whole rundown, which I understood. But here's where it gets really fucked up. That photo that she sent, I would later find out, last year actually, that photo that she sent was of her fucking daughter.
Alright, so this is a really important lie that he repeats quite a lot with the whole Mash Troll Mafia sting thing, is that the photo that was used as the decoy was of her own daughter. It's completely not true. The photo was taken from a predator catching website. It was specifically on the website listed as being a photo of an adult woman who looked younger and was to be used as a decoy photo in stings. So not only did the person who the photo was of give their consent for it to be used, this was a legal adult whose photo was specifically put out there for this purpose with their consent. He makes this argument to try to make it seem as though it's not that bad what he did, because the people who were trying to catch him were just as unethical as he was, because who would put a child in that situation? Which is funny that you would even admit that in the first place. You're like, what kind of lunatic would send me a picture of their child? Which, like, I don't know, if you're not a danger to children, that wouldn't be a problem, So you're almost admitting the issue right there. But on top of that, he's trying to discredit and make it look like the people who did this sting were gross and lump them in with this in the same box as him, so that he can be like, look, they did this disgusting thing trying to catch me doing something disgusting. Let's just make it all inadmissible. Let's just throw it all away, right? And that might work in court. Like, you might be able to, in an actual legal criminal proceeding, you might be able to, like, discredit the reputation of the arresting officer, and then the case might get thrown out. But that doesn't stop the court of public opinion. Even if we did decide that Mash Troll Mafia was a bad person, it doesn't make you a better one. It doesn't make us think that you didn't actually send goblin pics to who you thought was a 14-year-old. There's a lot of people out there who think that Marty was a pretty bad person. However you feel about him, that doesn't stop anybody from holding you accountable for the things that he helped expose you do.
Her fucking daughter. And as a result of that whole situation, those screenshots have been edited so many times by so many people that nobody really knows what's real and what's not, which I can understand. I can understand that. But I've had shit stolen from me, obviously. My reputation almost completely ruined. And I've confronted both Marty and the person that did the sting on me, which was Mash Troll Mafia, who I would later find out, who that was. Well, when I confronted both of them, they kept on giving me bullshit answers like, oh, because you gave up, or, oh, because I can, and because you're delusional, and I want you, which is what Marty would say as far as the delusional and wanting me shit, and because I turned him down. But because of that whole thing, my life's been flipped upside down in more ways than I can count. Like, my whole life has been a fucking train wreck because of these people.
But it's really not because of these people, Chance, because so much of your life was an absolute wreck even before there was ever anybody trolling you. The trolls didn't steal your lung from you, or mess up your teeth, or shave your head. The trolls didn't infest your house with bedbugs. The trolls didn't trick you into doing what you did with Blind Billy. The trolls didn't make you so dumb that you had to go to high school for 9 years and still fail out. The trolls didn't make you strangle your grandma. The trolls didn't prevent you from having a job for your entire adult life. He's acting like he was this superstar on top of the world, and then Music Biz Marty showed up and it all fell apart. But to be honest with you, the reason that when they want to mess with you, they go after your Xboxes and stuff like that is because that's all you have. There wasn't success or normalcy to begin with.
And then back in 2023, TV would do something that was very fucked up. Now, I know it might not look it on the outside looking in, but back before all this shit started, me and my dad, we didn't necessarily get along that well, but we still had a good relationship. Well, Tibbs TV ended up using that to blackmail me. He tried to do another sting through a guy named Wings007. And when Wings tried to do the same thing, only he straight up pretended like he straight up was a result. And because I had gotten tipped off by a couple friends of mine about this whole thing, I was like, yo, dude, I already knew. Like, I was like, yo, I know you're not. And I said these exact words. I know who you are, Wings007. Why are you doing this? What are you trying to gain from this? I know you're a grown adult. What's going on? Why are you trying to set up a sting operation? Well, he wouldn't give me a clear answer. He flat out ran away and blocked me. And mind you, this was on fucking Instagram at the time. And he flat out blocked me and was like, after he knew that I'd found him out, he straight out blocked me. Because he knew that I knew what was going on.
So I just want to jump in as he gets into this father disowning thing. I know it's a little confusing. I've actually made that mistake myself in the past because Chance has so many different daddies in his life, Security Jake being the most important. But when he says his father disowned him, he's not talking about Rupel, his biological father, who is an even worse predator than he is. He's talking about Gordon, the military veteran that was married to Sally. Since Sally adopted Chance even though she was his grandma, Chance calls Sally Mom, which made her husband Gordon his stepfather. However, Gordon, who R.I.P. has now passed away, being a military vet and an all-around just generally decent dude, rightfully did decide to disown Cyraxx on panel after he found out about his predatory activities. Chance likes to act like that wasn't like a rightful thing and he wasn't being held accountable for his actions, but instead that it was a situation where his reputation, his stellar reputation, was smeared to Gordon, which led to him losing a father figure, which of course is not true at all.
And so I brought this to Tibbs' attention, not as a friend, but to confront him and be like, yo, why the fuck did you do this? Well, he sat there and decided to use it to his advantage. He decided to blackmail me. Because he knew that me and my dad were not on good terms at the moment because my dad had just been on Music Biz Marty's panel and ended up disowning me. So I was like, what the fuck? Like, I was confused. And me still caring about my dad like I did at that time, I don't care about him anymore. But at the time, I still cared. You know, to me, he was still my dad. Well, needless to say, Tibbs used that to his advantage and was like, look, I'm going to give you two choices. You can either admit to or option B is I can help your dad and his wife sue you for defamation of character and slander. And I'm sitting there thinking, what are you talking about? What do you mean defamation of character or slander? And he was all like, he went on this whole tirade of, oh, well, what you said was, you know, slander and defamation of character because they're saying this and they're saying that. And I kept telling him, bro, it's not defamation of character or slander, it's fucking true. And me and him got into it for about an hour, then we, you know, parted ways. And then, you know, he hit me up and was like, look, like, why don't you just come on panel and talk? You know, and we'll hash it out. Well, little did I know that was a fucking trick. He still persisted with the same thing. And by this time, I was just like, look, like, I don't want to go to court over my dad. I don't want to go to court with him. I love my dad. I still cared about him at that time. Didn't want to go to court to fight him. Because now
You didn't want to go to court because you had no money and the truth wasn't on your side, so all it would have done was get you in trouble and expose you for more shit.
not only would that be not fair to him, it wouldn't be fair to me or my family, because he was mad about me telling the truth about what he actually did when I was in Florida. And, you know, how he got me drunk when I'd never drank in my life. You know, how he got me drunk without my knowledge or my consent. And how I had an infection in my leg so bad that he refused to take me to the hospital. And so I had to wait till I got back here after getting thrown out, after me and my wife got into it for no reason. And, you know, I got thrown out, I got brought back here, had to go to the hospital, got my leg lanced, yada yada yada.
After me and the wife got into it for no reason. Have you ever seen Rax get into it for no reason? The reason is always that he's an asshole and he says incredibly disrespectful things to everybody all the time. If you're a minority, he'll call you a racial slur. If you're a woman, he'll call you a bitch and a whore and every other name in the book. If you're a white guy, he'll just call you homophobic slurs and accuse you of the type of stuff that he's actually the one that does. There's no situation where he got into an argument for no reason. The reason is that he can't stop having meltdowns even though every time he's even a little bit upset.
Needless to say, I was not the only kid for almost a month. It sucked. And I told, Tibbs this. I was like, look, everything I said was true. Well, he still didn't believe me. So he was like, look, here's what you're going to do. You are going to either admit to being, or I'm going to help your dad and his wife sue you, and you will not be able to get out of this. I will help them, and they will win, and you will be charged and arrested. And by this point, I was so scared because I didn't know that the dude didn't have money. I didn't know that. I was scared. I didn't know. And I figured that, if I just gave him what he wanted, that he would leave me alone.
That is not logically how anyone would think ever. If you really didn't do that thing, which is like the worst thing you could possibly be accused of, there's nothing that anyone could threaten you with that would make you admit to it. People being horribly tortured would not admit to doing that. So this idea that he put a little bit of fake pressure on you over the internet when you didn't even know who he was to make you admit something that you didn't do when it's the worst thing in the world, the only reason you would admit to it is because you actually did it and you felt like you were going to get caught either way, so you might as well try to dodge these other consequences by at least saying it yourself instead of letting everybody else say it all the time. He was hoping that admitting it would give him a little bit of relief from the trolling, but when it made it worse, he then tried to backtrack and act like he didn't say it or he was only blackmailed into saying it because he didn't benefit from admitting it, so why even leave it out there? But you can't put the toothpaste back in the tube, Cyraxx.
And so I gave him what he wanted. Not because I wanted to, but because I was made to. And that's why people keep on saying, like, oh, he's a self-admitted. I'm not. I was forced into that. I was literally blackmailed into that shit. And like I've always said, and I've stood my ground on this too, the only reason why I gave in to Tibbs and him doing that is because I didn't know. I had no idea that he did not have that kind of power. But I didn't know. I was scared. But ever since then, there's been screenshots that have been, tampered with. There's been fake screenshots made up of people saying that I talk to when I don't. And what's so screwed up is that anybody that tries to help me, these trolls go after. Like, prime example, one of my really good friends recently tried to send me a brand new PC 2 different times. And William Gloryhole and WordBoi stole them. And flat out told me and everybody on social media that I am not allowed to have a computer and I am not allowed to have an Xbox ever.
So he's now referencing the whole April thing. He was then tricked into thinking that this catfish troll ended herself, and he was very upset about that because if she wasn't on this earth anymore, how was she going to send him a new computer? It's baffling that he believes these things, even after the same tricks have been pulled over and over and over again.
And that anything that I get, they will steal. They have done that, and more recently, somebody else who I later found out would be a troll tried to send me a brand new Xbox, and William ended up rerouting it to his address like always.
Listen to what he just said. Someone who turned out to be a troll was going to send me a brand new Xbox. So it doesn't even occur to you that if they were a troll, maybe there was no Xbox in the first place? Come on. Like, he's not even trying to figure this shit out. It's like the only thought in his head is the hope that maybe he'll get some free stuff. It's like over and over again, people are handing him those old can prank toys with the spring and the confetti in it. And even after one goes off in his face, if you hand him another one, he'll be like, ooh, beans, let me open it. He really doesn't have 2 brain cells to rub together.
Well, to go back a little bit, I know what a lot of y'all are thinking, like, why didn't you reach out for help? I did. My family tried. About 2.5 years ago, my family tried to reach out to local law enforcement over 113 times. The first time was because I had been shot at through my bedroom window during a live stream, and the bullet went into my mattress. And we called it in. They came out and flat out said they weren't going to do anything, which I found very weird. I was like, what the fuck? Why aren't you going to cut the mattress open and take the bullet out? It just happened. The bullet's fresh. Why not take it out and do something about it? Take it out to the lab so you fired it. Do what you can do. Well, they didn't do it. And more and more incidences kept on happening over and over and over and over and over again. And my family kept on making reports of it like we were told. And at one point, the police got sent out here in force over a fucking lie. William Gloryhole had called the police and told them and said that I was harbor-year-old in my house, when I wasn't. And about 6 different squad cars showed up in full tack gear. And we're talking bulletproof vests, we're talking, rifles, shotguns, whole 9 yards, ready to go, pointed right at me. Because William had said that I was harboring if any police were to show up, that I was going to shoot them as well, which I never said that. And that moment right there was one of the scariest moments of my whole life. Because I knew that at any moment, that trigger could get pulled. And I could be shot and killed for just reaching into my hoodie pocket. And needless to say, they left, didn't find anything. And I'm not gonna lie, like, that moment was one of the scariest moments of my life. These people have destroyed 2 of my computers and 2 of my Xboxes and have gotten away with it. These people have caused my family distress. These people have done all kinds of stuff to make my life a living hell. And needless to say, the whole allegations thing, that's where they get a lot of this from. And it's fucking disgusting. And every time I confront Music Biz Marty, or did confront him, every time I'd ask him, why did you target me in the first place? His exact response, because I'm delusional, and that I suck at music, and that I don't deserve to be in music.
Hello, darkness, my old friend. I've come to talk with you again. And there's a naked light I saw. 10,000 people, maybe more. You got looking with the holy grail. People hearing with the holy thing. The shining songs.
Well, I haven't heard a lie from Marty yet. Those are all true.
Then when I confront Kate, aka National Mafia, who's the one that did this thing on me in the very beginning, every time I confront her, she always comes up with some sort of stupid fucking answer. Like, why did you, like, you know, I would ask her, like, dude, why the fuck did you do that shit? One time it's, Marty paid me to, or, oh, because you gave me vibes, oh, because I could, because I was bored, or because I thought it'd be funny.
I mean, in retrospect, it was pretty funny.
Because you look weird.
You do look weird, Rax. You can't argue with that. I mean, these are all secondary reasons to your PDF file, but, like, also all true.
And I'm sitting there thinking, dude, but the thing that gets me about this whole thing, nobody's willing to hold Marty or Mass Troll Mafia accountable for what they did. Like, why is that?
Oh, they're being held accountable. I mean, Marty, at least, he exposed a predator. And now people on the internet say R.I.P. Marty in the comments of every single video I make about you, and talk about how they missed the days when he was trolling you all the time because it was really funny. See, Cyraxx doesn't understand that being held accountable can be a good or a bad thing. For him, being held accountable would be like prison, but for somebody who did things that were good and funny and that people liked them for, being held accountable just means, like, they have a generally good reputation and people reminisce about enjoying their content.
Like, why is that? Dude, like, why is it that no one holds them responsible? That's what I want to know. And second off, for the people that keep on saying that I talked to, once again, where's the fucking proof?
Well, there's screenshots, there's clips of you admitting it.
Working out the kitty all day. That's all I'm doing.
There's testimony from people that it's happened to. For a lot of incidents that you're related to, like strangling your grandma, there's police reports. The only thing I haven't seen is receipts for any of the times that you've refuted any of this proof. At this point, there's so much evidence against you, you would need to show us solid evidence to prove that you aren't guilty. But every time you just make these 45-minute long videos where you tell some sob story and you never actually show us any screenshots, you never actually show us any call logs. Because at the end of the day, we both know there's nothing for you to show. The only thing that you have in your pocket to whip out is your little goblin.
Where's the actual real-ass screenshots? Because y'all are always saying, oh, we have screenshots, and they're current. Where are they at then? Where are the motherfucking screenshots at, man?
YouTube, Rumble, Facebook, Odyssey, Twitter, Kiwi Farms, Discord.
Because I don't see shit at all, ever.
That's because only one of your eyes works and it doesn't face the right way.
I don't see any of you dumbass motherfuckers sending any screenshots or posting anything that is current. Everything that you guys have said is current isn't current. And they are not. They are fucking grown-ass adults.
He's not even saying that the screenshots aren't real. He's just saying they're old. Like, imagine if you got accused of a heinous crime, and then when you went to the judge was like, did you do this? And you were like, forever ago. Do you have anything recent?
That you people are claiming are when they're not. They're fully grown adults. Y'all are just trying to throw around the word.
Well, for the ones that were, thank God they were fully grown adults, Cyraxx. That's the point of a sting, is to catch you before you can traumatize a child.
just to get me canceled because I refuse to dance for you. And that's another thing that Marty has done too, is blackmail me. Saying that, oh, if you don't dance for me, like literally dance. Because back in high school I did dance, and then I ended up making a channel on here, you know, based around it. Because I used to enjoy it, but now I don't because of Marty. And what I'm about to explain to you is why I no longer enjoy it.
Marty is the personal mayor of his footloose town. He can't even enjoy dancing anymore because of Music Ms. Marty. That's crazy.
Marty would sit there and blackmail me and say, hey, if you don't dance for me, then I'm going to be forced to do this. And I'm like, what the fuck, dude? That's bullshit. And you can literally go on live streams, like you can go on previous live streams where me and him have been on panel, and I've confronted him about this many, many, many times. Which, honestly, that's where a lot of the Rage Out videos came from. Was from me trying to fucking get him to shut his goddamn mouth and to leave me alone. Because I did not want to dance for him. I wanted to do my own thing and be left alone. But nope. My life gets ruined. I get told by William that I'm not allowed to have I'm not allowed to be on any other websites than YouTube, and I'm not allowed to make money, and I'm not allowed to have an Xbox as long as he's alive, and I'm not allowed to have a PC as long as he's alive. And it's like, dude, what the fuck?
Goblins aren't allowed to have nice things or make a living.
Like, that's not cool, because first off, William, you're not my mama, you're not my daddy. You sure as fuck ain't God.
Well, Chance, your mama was regarded, your daddy was a predator, your fake daddy disowned you, and you strangled your fake mama. So I don't exactly blame anybody for not being your family. You called your own sister a whore and tried to rap battle her. Also, your sister is also your aunt. My god, your family tree really is like one of those ones that grew in the fallout of Chernobyl.
So you really don't have that right to say that. So, what the fuck, dude? These are the kinds of things that these people do, and I found out recently the whole real reason why Marty started all this, because he let it slip up. And so did Master Mafia. They both let it slip up in a private Discord server that a good friend of mine was in before they kicked them out and turned invites off. Well, I found out the whole reason why they did all that was because I look weird, because I look different. And they thought that I would be an easy money grab. And that's what all these trolls are trying to do now, is make money off of me. Ruin my life. I'm losing out on thousands of dollars a year, a month, a week, because of these people.
Chance, this did not happen because you look weird. I cannot tell you enough times that this didn't happen because you look weird. Walton Goggins look weird. And there's women online making thirst trap TikToks of him and calling him daddy because he played a funny role in a TV show where he was kind of charismatic. You can overcome looking weird, I promise you. Actually, Walton Goggins literally played a ghoul in Fallout and people still like him. You are a Fallout ghoul, but that's not why people don't like you.
I used to have a Twitch account where I was making really good money. I was making over $150 a day doing.
He made $113 one day, one time, and his account was shut down and banned before he could even withdraw it.
Very well for myself, actually. Doing very well. I had just hit partner with Twitch a week prior to the incident. I had some very good, really good minor sponsors that I had a lot of fun collabing with.
Whoa, minor sponsors. You had some really good minors, Chance. Is that an admission? He told you guys.
And needless to say, my Twitch got shut down and I lost everything. Because Marty and William and WordBoi and all them decided to lie to Twitch and say that I was doing stuff outside of Twitch that I was not doing. I lost my job, my partnership with Twitch. I lost all my sponsors. I lost everything. And these people will not let me make any money. They don't care what it is. These people are trying to make it to where I am homeless when my mom passes away. Because
homeless arc, homeless arc, homeless arc.
They think that it's funny. They think that it's cute. And it's not. I'm just a regular guy out here trying to make an honest living. That's all. So why should I have to suffer for my mistakes when nobody is holding Music Biz Marty, Master Mafia, or any of these people responsible for what they've done to me? But yet people expect me to take responsibility, but yet no one wants to make them take accountability for their actions. Where is that okay? And this is where another YouTuber that I watch, spoke down on this subject, and they were right. The word was thrown around way too loosely. And it's people like Master Mafia and Music Biz Marty, they're the ones that truly don't deserve a fucking platform.
I gotta be honest, I don't think it's thrown around too loosely. And I'm not saying it's never happened because there's outliers in any scenario, but I've never known of anyone who was accused of being a PDF file and turned out not to be one. Every time a big internet personality starts being accused of that, like the rumors and the rumblings start to make their way around the internet, every single time I've ever seen that happen, shortly afterwards, multiple victims come forward and screenshots get leaked. Like, I don't think this is like a smear that they just call people. I'm like nearly 100% sure, like nearly 100% of the time, 99.999% of the time, if you're called that thing, it's very shortly after proven that you are that thing.
They throw around that term loosely and so just like it doesn't even mean anything, and it ends up ruining lives. It really and truly ends up ruining lives. It almost ruined mine fully, to where I'm still fighting to recover. I'm still fighting to try to, get to where I want to be because of these people. And it's sickening. I have to live my life every day depressed.
You see what you do to me now, Marty? Every day you make me want to do this, and I'm sick of it.
Even though I might not show it, I have to live my life every day depressed. Dealing with PTSD because of the hell that I went through with these people over the last 8 years. The anxiety attacks, the panic attacks. Those are things that I deal with every day. And it's fucked up. All I'm trying to do is get back to being who I was. Not who the internet has made me out to be. The internet has painted me in such a bad light that I don't know if I ever will be able to recover.
Cyraxx, these channels that put you in such a bad light, literally all they do is play clips of you talking and then interject with commentary. Nearly every other cow-related channel, people have to do research and then sit there writing and delivering these monologues to put all the information out there about you. No, with you, we literally just play clips of you where you hang yourself with your own words. So nobody's putting you in a bad light when they're literally just showing clips of you talking.
I don't know. I would like to think I can, but I don't know. I really don't know. Because these people have amassed a group of thousands of people just to try to cancel me. There are groups on YouTube with over 1,000 people dedicated to canceling me, or trying to cancel me.
By the way, the Chance Wilkins is a Predator Facebook group has over 10,000 people in it now.
There's God knows how many pages on Reddit about me, about what the trolls want to do to me, and this and that and the other. Everybody contradicts everything I say when I'm telling the absolute 1,000% truth. My life has not been easy. My life has been a total fucking wreck. I've lost friends because of these people. I've lost family members. One of my closest friends and best friends of 17 plus years, Jake, walked away because of these people.
And he misses Jake most of all, and we know why.
My own dad abandoned me, disowned me. My own older sister, Daylin, disowned me. All because these people want to run around and spread lies and misinformation. Also, they can get clicks and views. And quite frankly, it's fucking disgusting. And what I want to know is, why is nobody holding these other people accountable for their actions? Because there was a point where I got Music Biz Marty to openly admit that he set me up, and that he paid Mass Troll Mafia to do what she did. Also, he could isolate me because I turned him down. But yet, I don't see anybody holding Marty, Mass Troll Mafia, William Glory Hole, or any of them responsible. But yeah, I'm supposed to take responsibility for my actions, right? And that's what I don't understand. Why is everybody telling me to take accountability for my actions when they're not making Marty or any of them accountable for their actions? And that's where I'm confused. Why is it that nobody is holding them accountable for what they did? It doesn't make sense to me. What happened to accountability? What happened to taking responsibility for your own actions? What happened to holding people accountable to the wrongdoings that they do? It's funny, people want to sit there and hold me accountable for my supposed wrongdoings, but yet everybody seems to mysteriously refuse to hold Mass Troll Mafia, Music Biz Marty, WordBoi, or William Glory Hole, or anybody that's had a hand in ruining my life accountable for their actions. Why is that? Come on. When it comes to Mass Troll Mafia, we're talking about somebody, that Turtle Boy. And if y'all don't know who Turtle Boy is, look him up. This motherfucker sat there and made Mass Troll Mafia look like a joke. Because she kept on saying that she has goons, and every time he would confront her, she ran away. This is the same that tried to hit on my stepdad while me and my mom were present in the fucking room. Listen.
I nearly almost always forget about that. Yeah, at one point, she said she wanted to fuck Ed. I might have to cover that one day. That's too funny.
which I'm pretty sure she was streaming at the time too. This is the set when I went to try to get therapy online because my family couldn't afford regular therapy at the time. So I found one, or I should say my now ex-girlfriend found one, and I started to go to therapy. Started to do very, very good for myself. I had documented the whole thing and everything to show like, hey, I'm actually going to therapy. I'm trying to do better. That ended up breaking into one of the private sessions and tried to ruin things for me when I was simply there to get help and do better. But yet, no one wanted that for me. Like, none of you guys wanted that for me.
Goblins aren't allowed to have nice things or make a living.
And to Kate, I ask you this. Why is it that, and don't give me that bullshit excuse because I get all that. I want the real, unfiltered, unbridled truth from you on this. I want the very real reason why, not the whole lame-ass excuse you always give. I want the real reason as to why you felt like you had to do what you did to me. Was it because Marty had paid you off? Or was it something much more sinister? Why is it that you agreed with Marty to set me up?
Well, Chance, I'll ask you a counter question before we sign off for the day today that I think could really shed a whole lot of light on this whole situation. Why does everything come back to kids with you? Why do you keep talking to them? Why do you obsess over other people having their kids taken away? Why do you still say Callum's name to this day? Why do you constantly insert yourself in childlike interests? Why do you feel the need to hang out in spaces that you know kids are going to be present? Why are you perfectly aware? Why are you perfectly able to recall all this information that you've just gone off for an hour about Marty and Mash Troll Mafia and William Gloryhole and WordBoi, but when somebody sends you a text message saying that they're 14, it flies out of your mind and you forget all about it 2 minutes later when you send them your goblin pics? Why can't you seem to stop doing the same things over and over and over and over again, even though you know there's a million eyes on you and you're gonna get caught and you're gonna get in trouble for it? He'll never answer any of those questions because they don't make him look good, but he doesn't seem to understand that by dodging and ignoring those things, he just makes himself look even more guilty, which is fine because he is. But that's going to be the Goblin Report for today. We'll have some new content for you tomorrow. If you like the content, please like and subscribe, and until next time, stay indoors, stay away from the Goblin, and have a good one.
Hold on, y'all. Fuck is going on? Oh, God.
All over the place.